What ground has the best moisture content?
It's a great question. Marvel Stadium now down in Melbourne was bloody slippery, so I'd say there was it was pretty moist. So
Yeah. Who's your favourite Aussie driller?
Aussie driller. What are we talking about there? Oh, jeez, I wouldn't know. Oh, I don't mind Ziggy Alberts, who's an Aussie man.
Welcome to the Up and Coming podcast. I'm Connor McMullen, and this podcast is all about interviewing up and coming stars who are on the path of achieving their dreams. The Up and Coming podcast is brought to you by Drayton Laumberg. The sports agency represents the next generation of athletes and helps them to achieve their goals on and off the field. Head to draytonlaumberg.com to find out more. Today we have Jack Buckley in, a Scots old boy who graduated from the college in 2015. He's known for his leadership, cultural qualities, and work ethic throughout his school life. A very talented basketballer who was rewarded for this, being named captain of the first basketball at Scots. He's a midfielder forward who plays for the GWS in the AFL. He was selected by the Greater Western Sydney Football Club as a Category B rookie from the New South Wales zone in 2017. Buckley debuted for the Giants in the 17th round of the 2020 AFL season. Having a total of 12 games under his belt, there is a lot to look forward to in the future. So welcome back to Scots, Jack.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem. How you been going?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's about midway through the season now, so we've hit a pretty good run of form lately.
Yep.
Things are good on and off field.
Yeah. And today's your day off?
Yeah, today's the day off. It's usually a few days before the game, so
yep.
Pretty easy going on the day off.
That's
so it's
good.
nice. Yeah.
What do you like to do do you like to relax when you get a day off,
usually
or?
just sleep in, catch up on some sleep. It's probably my main one, and then get down to the beach, get in the water,
Yep.
and then just sort of cruise from there.
Yep.
Depends if it's a nice day. If it's not, stay indoors, watch some movies, play some COD, and otherwise down to the beach.
Yeah. No, very good. What does a week look like leading up to a game for the Giants?
Yeah, so about the day after the game, we'll have the day off.
Yep.
And it's just sort of, you go do your own thing for recovery, you head down the beach, do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Then 2 days after the game, you'll be in at the club, just meetings and reviews and doing recovery as well.
Yeah.
And then after that, you start to get back into training. You usually have one main day where you do a solid session.
Yep.
And then, but most of the week's mainly just recovery and sort of meetings about reviewing the game and then, game planning for the one coming up.
Yeah. And playing back-to-back, how important is recovery for you?
Yeah, it's everything, especially once you get later in the season. Your first few games aren't too bad, and then once it sort of starts to pile on top of each other, you need to get on top of it a lot. So you're in the ice baths a lot. You know, you got a lot of corkies and all that sort of stuff, and you just try and do whatever you can to make sure come game day you feel 110%, and you just don't want to stay away from the injury list is the main one. Yeah.
Is there any mornings where you're ever dreading training or not wanting to get up?
Oh, not during the season. In pre-season, that's when you have some big sessions.
Yeah.
I do really love what I do, so you're never dreading it, but you're also some mornings in pre-season you're sort of a bit nervous in the stomach about what's to come.
Yep.
A lot of the running and
the testing and
2K time trials and all that. That's one morning, especially on the 2K time trial where you wake up and you're just thinking, oh, geez, I wouldn't mind if something went wrong today and didn't have to go in and do it. But it's all part of it. But, it's a good lifestyle, that's for sure.
Yeah. What would you say motivates you to play and train?
I'd just say it's always been my dream to play professional sport, especially AFL footy from a kid. My old man used to play, so I've always been around it and love the game. So I guess it's just sort of constantly reminding myself of this is what I've always wanted to do, and I guess that's what gets me out of bed and makes me want to train hard and get to where I want to be in the game. It's probably the main motivation. Yeah,
for sure. So let's go back to the start. So where did you grow up? Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I originally from Melbourne. Spent probably my first 10 years of my life down there, growing up down there. Very footy centric. Grew up around footy. and then moved up to Sydney when I was in about year 5, so about 11.
Yep.
And then came to Scots in year 7.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's when I sort of realised nobody cares about footy up here,
Yeah.
AFL that is,
Yeah.
and it's all rugby. So I sort of and I picked up basketball as well when I came to Scots, so I started to really love basketball as well, and played a bit of local footy on the side, and then was also playing rugby because I just thought that's what you do up here. So started playing union, and
Do you enjoy rugby at the time?
yeah, I loved it. But I did it for a few years, and then once I got a bit older, I sort of started to go off it a bit.
Yeah.
Because I was playing rugby on the Saturday and then AFL on the Sunday.
Coming a bit too much, was it?
Yeah, it was getting a bit much. So I ended up, I think I did volleyball or something in year 12 just to try and manage it a bit.
Yeah.
But I did love rugby. I used to love playing. I was never that good at it. Just having fun and with my mates.
Bit of a social team.
Bit of a social, yeah.
Yeah. Have you got a big family, a small family? Any siblings?
I've got an older sister.
Yep.
And 2 half brothers. One's at Scots now. Who's Billy is in year 8, I think, and then Charlie's yet to come. And then I've got my dad and my mum who passed away when I was younger. So he remarried, and that's no, it's all right. And then so relatively fair sized family.
Yeah. What were the sports you loved growing up? You said you were born in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Was that always AFL from a young age, or was there other sports?
No, it was always footy from a young age, and then it was probably until I came to Scots I started to really love basketball as well.
Yeah.
And so that'd be definitely my 2 now. I love my footy, but also equally love my basketball just as much. So it was probably footy early on, and then once I came to Scots, just loved basketball.
Yeah. So what about those 2 sports did you love?
Oh, I get footy, the competitive side of it, and the contact, and just I loved that. And then basketball, I loved training. I just loved shooting and playing, and it was just a lot of fun to play because footy is funny because you're one of 18 on the field at any given time. So sometimes you can go 120 minutes and have 5 touches and you don't feel like you did much. But when you're playing basketball, you're only 1 of 5, so you're always in it. Yeah. You're always around it, whereas sometimes footy, you're 200 metres away from the ball. So I did love that about basketball, and that's what drew me to it. And then, footy's just, I love the competitiveness of it. Yeah.
So you said you went to primary school in Melbourne?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Or did you
and
do a
then
bit
I had
of both?
a couple of years up here at Bronte Public.
Bronte Public, very good.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, loved it. Yeah, so I think I was there year 4, year 5, year 6. So loved it. Yeah, grew up in Bronte, so I was pretty lucky.
And were there any boys from Bronte that came in that year to Scots?
Dylan Woods was one. It was me and him.
Yeah,
me and Dylan Woods. So I know him pretty well. And we went through school pretty much all the way together. So he was the only one, I think. It was just us 2.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, you're an old boy of the Scots. How did you enjoy your time here?
Yeah, loved it. I was here from year 7 to 12, so went through a high school and really got some great mates who, all my close mates now, mates I made in school, and it's been about 5-6 years now, which is a bit of a blur, but I'm still very close to all that. We all keep in contact very regularly and see each other all the time, so I made a lot of great friendships and learnt a lot as well. And so, I'm very grateful and love my time at Scots.
So a big part of the Scots journey is obviously Glengarry. When you go away for 6 months. How was that experience for you?
I love Glengarry. I remember going in, I was pretty nervous about it all. Didn't really know what to expect. Didn't really know anyone who'd been, so I didn't know what was to come. And but I loved it. It was just you're constantly surrounded by your mates all the time, and you can build some really good friendships. That's where I sort of made friends there that I went through the rest of Scots with, and it's just a good time. You sort of you're doing your schoolwork, but that feels like more on the side, and then you're just doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So you're always busy, and there's always something to do. So I loved it.
So for those who don't know what Glengarry is, do you want to say a little bit of what it's like, what you get up to, and maybe a funny story that happened down there?
Oh yeah. So basically, you just up there, you'll wake up in the morning, go do some chores, and then do your schoolwork, and then in the arvo you either go for a bike or a run, and it's so long ago now I actually can't remember a heap of it. But and then on the weekends you'd go camping for a night or two, and you do like a 3-day solo where you're out there by yourself for a few days. So just stuff like that was always fun, and it's all just new and different. So that was probably the main thing that you're always doing something that I hadn't done before. So it was nice. I hadn't been camping much. So
being from the city, did you like?
Yeah, I was from the city. I was a city boy, so I love the bush. But I'm a bit of a fraud when it comes to the bush. I'm more of a city boy. So most boys that probably go out there outside of all the borders, they probably look at all the city boys thinking they're carrying on a bit out at Glengarry. So I loved it. It was great. Yeah,
and then a few years on, so your year 12 year, 2015.
Yeah.
You played basketball. You were pretty invested into that, and got named captain of the side.
Yeah.
In year 12. How was that? How was that for you?
Yeah, it was great. It all. I was sort of just playing 16s, and then I think I was in the thirds in year 11 for basketball, and then David Todd, who I'm close with and really helped me through my senior years of high school to the basketball program especially, and giving me that captaincy and giving me the responsibility to lead the team, especially like Scott said, been unbelievable a program and a team before I came in that year in 2015. So had a lot of success, and then that year was a bit different because a lot of the older guys had left. So sort of coming in, I wasn't actually particularly good at the game. I was just more did all the dirty work, and I think that's what Toddy liked about me. So he gave me the reins, and I guess I hadn't really captained anything that much before. So he helped me along really well, and it's something that really held me in good stead going forward into future years in just work ethic and responsibility of you know captaining a side.
For sure, he touched on that. He said your work ethic was second to none. Was that instilled in you from a young age, do you think?
It's something I've never really thought about getting instilled. My dad was always, big on it, but and I guess I just always loved doing the little stuff on the field. I guess pride myself on just being coachable. Whatever was asked of me, I'll do. And just trying to, get the most out of myself. But I think it was something that probably came through Toddy. He probably helped, really foster that once it came into the basketball program. Just the environment was it was just everyone worked pretty hard. I watched all the older boys, like there's a guy called Obi and Barkway, who was just a weapon of a human, and a bit of a hero at the school at the time because he was just like good at everything, just academics, and then he was also just trained ridiculously hard. So just seeing people like that, and I wasn't that talented at basketball. So I guess I just had to learn that I just had to work pretty hard at it, and that's something that really helped me with my footy, especially over the last few years, for sure.
And your ability to create a culture within the team, do you think that came naturally, or?
No, it's something I wasn't even aware I was doing if I did it. I didn't really think I was doing a whole lot other than just trying to work hard, and I guess I was probably trying to lead by example in a way because I wasn't the most vocal person because I'd never really captained much before. So I guess I was just sort of trying to lean off Toddy, and he had a lot of faith in me, so that gave me a lot of faith just to work hard and sort of set an example because I was the oldest in the team. So I guess that's just the role I had to play. But it's something I never really thought of trying to create a culture or anything because I didn't really think I was capable of doing something like that, to be honest. But it'd be nice if that's what they saw and if I did do a bit of that,
So Mr. Todd definitely had a big influence on you and who you are today, do you think?
100%. Well, I sort of, when I went and started to take basketball a bit more seriously because I was sort of juggling footy and basketball, so I couldn't really go straight into the first and do all that program because I had footy training in the Arvos. And then once I was in the Swans Academy up until about under 16s, and then I actually decided to quit that because I just wasn't enjoying it. I didn't think I was going particularly well at footy, so I was just I'll just give it up, play locally, and then just do basketball more in the Arvo. So once I made that decision, he just sort of threw me straight into the first squad and started training with those guys, and that's something I was very grateful for because it really learned me a lot, like I said before, and how to work hard, and then that's sort of the environment he gave, and just sort of learning how to take strong feedback and learning how, all the different ways how to get better is something. And he cared for me, as a basketball player, but equally as much as a person as well. So he really helped off field wherever he could, and still to this day we keep in contact pretty regularly. And he's someone that's been a huge part of, making me, someone who can handle being a professional athlete for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And so year 12, because there's no AFL at Scott's, you were playing some club footy, were you?
Yeah, so I was playing at Maroubra Saints down there from about under 15s onwards. I was at East Bulldogs before that, but then we didn't have enough players to field a side. So me and a couple of mates had to move over to Maroubra. I was just playing there on a Sunday arvo, pretty much, and then and then play school sport on the Saturday here. Yeah.
So were you part of the Swans Academy or anything?
Yeah, so I was a part of the Swans Academy. I think roughly around under 12s is when I first started, and you just sort of train a couple nights a week.
Yeah.
And then up until about 16s, and that's when it started to get a bit more serious. There was under 16 state and New South Wales teams and that.
Yeah.
And I was nowhere near it. I wasn't going particularly well. I didn't think I was that good. So once I got to, it would have been around year 10, 11, I just sort of decided just to give it a bit of a rest.
Yeah.
And that's, I reckon once I quit that week, I went and I said to Toddy I'd like to, give basketball a bit more of a crack. And it was, I definitely don't regret the decision in the end, because some of the things I was able to do through the basketball program was amazing. We went over to Canada and did a tour over there, and just all the tournaments, and just I loved it. I look back on those last year and a half of Scots basketball very fondly. Yeah.
Cool. So then going to the end of year 12, were you excited to leave school, or were you a bit nervous?
I was pretty indifferent to it all. I wasn't really fussed. I was pretty easy going through most of school. By the end of it, I was sort of ready to see what else was out there. But I wasn't particularly attached to staying. I wasn't dreading going into uni life or anything like that. That's for sure. So I guess by the end of year 12, I was a bit spent by all the schoolwork and that. I was a bit ready to get into the summer and put the feet up and then see what happened after that. Yeah.
And the standard question in year 12 is what are your plans next year? What was that Jack saying?
No idea.
No idea.
Genuinely had no idea. Definitely didn't see myself going anywhere near professional sport, because I didn't think I was capable at the time. So I was just playing local footy. So I was just thinking I'll go do uni, go do a business degree. Did commerce at Sydney Uni. And then was just coaching basketball here.
That's good.
Toddy gave me a job, which I was grateful for. So I was just coaching here. I
think you might have coached a few of the boys in my year.
Yeah, I was coaching year 7s at the time, so it probably would have been. I think so, 100%. That's crazy to think. This is 5 years ago. So I was just doing that, and definitely had no idea what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, or where I was. But it wasn't really something I was daunted by. I had a lot of people in my life who were, telling me there's no rush. So that was something I was pretty grateful for. So I was just sort of, finding my way through, seeing what I liked at uni, seeing what I liked in particular jobs I was doing, and just sort of going through that. And I was probably floating a bit, but having a good time doing it while I was young.
And then in 2017, GWS picked you up as a Category B rookie. What does that mean?
So Category B rookies, it's hard to explain. I get asked the question a bit, but you've got the senior list and the rookie list. And the rookie list is usually 4 or 5 guys who weren't picked up in the national draft. They sort of came through a separate pathway. So it's a way for clubs to sort of get people in that were outside of the normal talent pathway. Which I fell under. So I got a 1-year contract through that, and then they just sort of test you out and you see, and you're still pretty much a part of the team. You train with them, train with the the senior squad. Doing everything day to day with them. You're on the list. You're contracted, getting paid. So basically they've sort of merged it to basically the same now, but just technically they're still referred to as different lists. But Category B at the time, I think Category B means you came through a different pathway, or in this case, I was a New South Wales boy, so they were able to get me through a zone selection. Yeah, so not being like picked up in the draft or anything, like what was the motivation there just to keep sticking at it to try and get to that
I guess it's a bit different because I didn't really try before. So when I was out of high school, in the 16 draft or the 15 draft when I was eligible, like I didn't nominate. I was nowhere near it. I was just playing local footy, just watching on TV, just thinking I'll do something else with my life. And then I sort of started to, my form was picking up in just local footy. And then I was lucky enough to have some great coaches at local footy who believed in me and had some connections through the Giants that in 2017 they had a lot of injuries, so they needed some top-up players for their reserve side in the NEFL. And then so I just got a call one week from someone at the Giants being like, can you come play in Brisbane in our reserve side? And I was pretty blown away. I didn't really know what it all was all about. So I was like, yeah, for sure. And then played 6 reserves games for them that year. You could only play a maximum of 6 as a top-up player. So and then I was able to go all right in those games, and they were talking to me, got some interviews with them, and sort of just all went from there. And in the space of about 4 or 5 months, I've sort of just gone to trudging around in the local league, just having fun, kicking the footy, to getting picked up at the Giants. So it was all pretty quick and bit of a whirlwind looking back on it. And would you say your dad had a big influence on you to like try and make it to the top level? Yeah, 100% in terms of just always being there for me in my footy. But it was never one to push me too hard. It was always started on the outskirts a lot. And that's something I always appreciated. He never got too involved or try to delve in and meddle in things. So he just sort of, whenever I asked for advice, he was there to give it. And it was only when I asked for it. So that's something that I always appreciated. But he was a huge influence on me in terms of work ethic stuff as well, and just sort of learning what it takes to become an AFL footballer. Once I eventually learned that's what I wanted to go, the path I wanted to go down. So he played 74 games for North Melbourne. So that's probably brought up like quite a bit. Did you feel any like expectation or pressure that you had to sort of live up to that? It's funny. I've been asked that a little bit lately, but I never did because I looked up to my dad, who was my idol. So it's something I never sort of got annoyed at being, he wasn't the greatest player. I'll say that to his face as well. He played 74 games, so it's not like anyone was saying, son of Ben Buckley growing up. Everyone knew who he was, but or most people did in the footy world. But it's something I never got annoyed at or felt pressure by because, he was always very good growing up. And, like I said, it wasn't like he was Wayne Carey or anything. I wasn't living under the biggest shadow. So being out of school and training with some of the big names at GWS, was that pretty surreal? Yeah, it was early days. My first few months at the club in pre-season, I was a bit like, wow, how did this happen? I was running around with some pretty special players, and then you sort of just learn pretty quickly everyone's just a normal bloke, and they were all great fellas, and then you just end up becoming mates, and then after a month or two, it just becomes pretty normal, and you're all just sort of, running around going about your business as mates, and you don't look at them as, the blokes you used to watch on TV as much anymore. But you always have this, sense of admiration for what they've done in their careers, and you pick certain players that you look up to, and they're the people you want to follow and try take on certain aspects of how they go about it, and get them to take you under your wing a bit. So I was very fortunate that we had some great older players that were there to do that for me over the last few years. So there were some players at the club that you looked up to? Yeah, 100%. Early, like Toby Green's one that's been huge for me over my years. Someone like a Phil Davis, especially the last couple of years. I could name a heap of them.
in terms of just helping me, always having time for me, and then just picking up on what makes them good and how I can learn off that. And in particular, yeah.
And then, so the 17th round of the 2020 AFL season, you made your debut.
Yeah.
Was that a dream come true?
Yeah, it was. It was a long time coming because that was my third season last year on the list. So,
so would you done 3 pre-seasons before that?
Done 3 pre-seasons by then. Had a couple seasons in the reserves under my belt, but got injured a lot early days. I just had a lot of soft tissue injuries, so sort of took me. It was a bit of a slow burn. But I guess that's sort of in a lot of rookies go down that path. It can take a while longer to get that debut. So when it did come, I was over the moon. It was in a bit of a different environment because we were up in the hubs in Queensland because the whole COVID set up.
Okay, right. So it was during that.
So it was during that. So it was a bit different. Like the family couldn't come up and stuff. But I actually got concussed
in that game.
Yeah. Delayed concussion. So didn't feel it till after the game. But so some aspects are a bit of a blur. But it was a dream come true. And I wish we would have won. But I was very grateful for it.
Yeah. So prior to that, did the coach pull you to the side to just tell you were doing that, or how'd you find out?
He's told us in a meeting, so we just had our normal. He usually does it our usual sort of opposition analysis before a few days before the game. He'll sort of, if there's a debutant, he'll sort of announce it in front of all the boys. So I found out when everyone else found out, but. You can always tell when you're close and when you're not close to getting a game. So I'd sort of been getting pretty close for about a month there, and I was pretty ready in my mind and pushing my case pretty regularly to the coach. I was just I sort of had a feeling that I might have been a sniff that week, but obviously you never know until you find out. So it was a great feeling, especially when all the other boys are around to find out. That's for sure.
And then the night prior to the game, were you getting nervous? How'd you feel?
It's really weird. Actually, I didn't get nervous at all. I actually used to get nervous just even for reserves games and stuff. Not a lot, but sometimes. And I thought, geez, my first AFL game, I'll be a nervous wreck. I'll be half head down the toilet in the rooms before the game, trying to get the nerves out. But I was actually fine. I think it's probably that took me 3 years to get there that I felt ready. I'd done a few pre-seasons and played a lot of footy, reserves footy, so I just sort of must have felt like I was ready. I guess that's really helped me. And during the game, I just sort of, you're so focused that you don't really have too much time to worry about your nerves. So I guess the lead up was a bit different, but I was really surprised that I wasn't getting too nervous, that's for sure. Yeah,
and so your parents and friends were there, watching on the big screen or something? Or?
Yeah, so they were all watching from home because they couldn't go. They were all sending me messages before the game, and I had a lot of people calling, which is nice. I think that was probably my favourite thing from the debut is just just seeing how making other people proud along the way. You speak guys like Toddy, but there's so many coaches and people that helped me along the way through all walks of life, family and friends, and so just getting those messages of seeing how happy they were about it gave me a huge boost, and that was probably my favourite thing about it all. Was just getting texts from people I haven't really spoke to in a while, but just seeing that they were still following it and keeping in touch was something I was really proud and humbled by, especially. So that was probably one of my favourite things.
So you've played a total of 12 games now. What excites you most about this season?
Well, I guess now that I've played every game this year, so now that I'm getting a consistent run at it, able to play back-to-back games and getting some continuity in my footy, and it's just about improving. I just now I've got a real appetite to, now that I know I can, cope at the level. It's just about building on that and becoming the best player I can possibly be. And just week to week, just finding little things, what didn't work at the game, what worked well, and then trying to work on those weaknesses, but whatever strength I've got, trying to maximise that as well. Because a lot of the time you can focus on your weaknesses, but then you start to lose your strengths. So just trying to improve on
anywhere and everywhere I can.
Yep.
Throughout the week.
Yeah. So with Jeremy Cameron leaving the Giants, do you think that's created more opportunities for you this year?
Well, I guess my first 2-3 years at the club, I was a forward, and him leaving, I was sort of like, oh yeah, maybe there's a spot there now to be taken. But then in the preseason, I was playing a lot on the wing, and then they tried me down back. So the first few games of the year I played midfield, I wasn't actually playing forward, and then we had a couple of players go down, injured down back. So they sort of threw me down there, and now the last 8 games I've played down back. Which has all been pretty new to me. I've never really played down there before, so just trying to learn all I can down there, and playing on some good forwards in the game, and just learn as much as I can, because you don't want to get too many goals kicked in you. You feel like you're letting the team down.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess it's a bit different down there, but just trying to learn as much as I can.
Yeah. Do you still get nervous for the games?
Some games you do, and some games you don't. Sometimes they come on and off a bit. It's a bit weird like that, but I'm usually pretty relaxed before the games. I like to just sort of chill out. Zone out and just sort of make sure I'm enjoying it and not getting too stressed and worked up about it all, because that's when your performance can start to get affected a bit. So usually try to stay as relaxed as possible, and just remember, why I play is to have fun. That's why I do it. So
for sure.
It's probably just trying to stay pretty level.
Have you got any superstitions pre-game?
No, I've got none actually. A lot of the boys do. There's plenty out there.
Some funny ones that you've seen?
Oh, just certain people putting left sock on before, undies. Everyone has, particular undies
Game
they wear.
undies.
Or some people, they need to have dinners and meals specific times before the game and night before. There's heaps out there, but I'm complete opposite. I just sort of have some pasta the night before, and that's pretty much it. And make sure I get some sleep, and then just rock up the game. Make sure I've got my boots and a good attitude, and get on with it.
So your dad being chairman of North Melbourne, that's created a bit of tension between you two.
Oh yeah, we joke about it a bit. He's probably lucky he's got another team to follow this year, because North aren't going too well at the moment. So I was a North fan growing up. So we barracked for them, very closely over the years. So I still hope they win whenever we're not playing them, just for his sake. So he's in a good mood during the week. But it is a bit funny, a bit of banter around the house sometimes. Do
you think the tides are changing, being known as Ben as the father of
I was actually joking about this the other day with him. He's played 74 and I've played 12 now, so I've got a fair bit to go, but it is a goal to pip him in games played, but I've got a long way to go before I get there, that's for sure. So but I'll say that to him. I won't say it to anyone else. So
so are there any other hobbies or interests that you like doing when you get some spare time?
Basketball's one of them. I love watching and go and shoot hoops and stuff like that. And then outside that, just try to get down to the beach as much as possible. Love swimming, and they're probably the main two. And then I'm still doing my my uni degree at Sydney Uni, my commerce degree. So doing that part time. So doing that on the side, which is good, just to keep ticking that over, because so I've got something to fall back on. Life after footy.
So you've thought about life after footy. Do you reckon you'd be doing that, do you think?
Well, I'll probably just finish this degree hopefully by the time I'm done with footy, and then use that for whatever I want to. I still don't know particularly what I want to do after footy, but my sort of attitude is you've got to keep an eye on life after footy, but this has always been my dream job. So while I'm in it, I just want to sort of dive in head first and make the most of it, not worry too much about everything else, and just sort of really appreciate it while I'm in it. And then but also you got to have a fallback, so just making sure I have a degree and one eye on the future afterwards as well.
For sure. I saw you were part of the Lockdown League on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
What was that about?
So one of the boys, Tom Sheridan, who was at the Giants last year, he's a bit of an entrepreneur type. Any idea is a good idea to Tommy. So we used to play FIFA all the time at home. So he was like, once lockdown went in, he decided to make a FIFA comp amongst all the AFL boys. So it was about 32 of us, I think, just from around the AFL. And he just got us into one big WhatsApp and just said, here's the lowdown, boys. And just sort of set it all up. He had a bit of a system like this, and he was commentating while we were just at home, like playing each other online. And it was a good bit of fun because we had some FIFA tournaments at GWS as well that he ran. He was the commissioner. Not sure we really needed one, but he was there in a suit and all the bells and whistles. And so he wanted to take that, bigger scope. And then it was a bit of fun during lockdown because there wasn't much else to do. So, it's a good idea.
For sure. What would you say your biggest highlight in AFL is so far? Like being rookie listed, being updated on the list, or like getting your first goal? What would you say?
I think my first win. Without a doubt. It was Collingwood. I think I went 0-4 because we lost the last two of last year, and then we went 0-3 at the start of this year. So I was 0-5 actually. And I was just like, geez, am I ever going to win? Is it me? Like, do I need to drop myself? What's going on? And then so we went down to MCG. We were 0-3 against Collingwood, who they're a bit bottom of the ladder now. About the time, they've obviously been a good side for the last few years, and went down and beat them down there. And that was one of the best moments of my life, without a doubt. So that would be my highlight for sure, was that win. And then ever since then, we've been able to get, in some good form now. So now that we're in the 8, we're getting some wins on the board. So it's good to be part of the winning team, for sure. For sure.
So knowing what you know now, what advice would you give out to school boys and girls sort of maybe looking to have a sporting career after school?
I guess just the biggest thing for me looking back is that there's no rush. You sort of like, I remember growing up, I thought there was a specific pathway you go through, whether it was the Swans Academies, and then you go into under 18s New South Wales, and then you go through that, and then year 18, that's your draft year. And then you get picked up there. And then, so I was sitting there, I was like 15, 16, already riding myself off. Thinking, I'm not that good yet. All my mates have passed me. They're playing New South Wales, and which looking back is pretty ridiculous. Like, you can't be writing yourself off that young because you've still got a long way to go. And it wasn't until I was 19, 20 until I did get picked up. So I guess is just never think it's over, and never rush yourself. Just make sure you're having fun along the way, but equally just keep trying to improve if you really want it. Just learn as much as you can from whoever you can, like even different sports or different people in your life. Like Toddy wasn't an AFL coach, but he was huge for helping me get to where I am. So there's never you can learn from anyone if you just have the right attitude. So just try to learn as much as you can, and improve just constantly on what you want to improve on.
For sure. And with what you've seen, what does leadership mean to you?
I guess it's well, first of all, you got to have your own backyard in check. So you got to be a good person. You got to be someone that's respected amongst who you're trying to lead. So obviously now I'm not a leader at the Giants. There's a lot more better leaders at the club than me there. So you can sort of see what it really takes now. But I think it's just about leading by example is probably the first one. You got to have the respect of the group, and they admire the way you go about it, but then equally have a strong presence about when you give feedback. Make sure it's from a good place of support. Like, I can't really go give you a spray if I've never shown you any support before. You're not really going to listen to me. So you can go give a spray and a bit of strong feedback to someone as long as they know that you've got their back through previous actions. So that's probably a big one.
Cool. Well, we always finish with some questions from the fans, so I'll get them up here. So from Bentley, what do you ever see yourself playing at another club?
Nah, I wouldn't say that. It would probably, nobody would like
club
that
man.
At the club. I do pride myself on my loyalty. So I love the Giants. They gave me a shot when no one else could. So couldn't see myself anywhere else. That's for sure.
From Will Warner, what do you think? Or do you think there is a correlation between basketball skills to AFL?
Yeah, without a doubt. It gets talked about a bit, actually. I think Scott Pendlebury, there's a bit of a running joke. Everyone talks about his basketball background all the time. But I think it's just more probably composure in tight spaces in basketball. Like, there's a lot going on around you when you got the ball. And it's a bit like that in footy. People can come from all angles, and same in basketball. So it's probably just having that composure with the ball and in tight spaces, and then also just team sport in general, like working as a team. In any sport, there's correlations between that as well.
Yep. From Tobes, what ground has the best moisture content?
It's a great question. Eddie, Marvel Stadium now down in Melbourne was bloody slippery, so I'd say there's fair bit. It was pretty moist, so yeah.
From Richie Tooth, who's your favourite Aussie driller?
Aussie driller. What are we talking about there?
So like a rapper or a driller?
Oh, jeez, I wouldn't know.
Favourite artist? Any songs you're loving?
Oh, I don't mind Ziggy Alberts, who's an Aussie man, but not too many drillers.
Not too many drillers.
Sorry, mate.
From Naomi, what's your favourite AFL team growing up?
Yeah, so North Melbourne was my favourite AFL team growing up.
Yep.
Dad didn't give me a choice.
Yeah.
From birth, he was like, "Yep, you're a North boy," and until I got picked up by the Giants, that's what it was. So I was a bit of a nuffy with North. So loved them, lived and breathed it. But now I'm more Giants.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for coming in, Jack.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
appreciate
no problem. His socials will be in the description below, and so will ours. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Cheers.
Look, I got the drop, let's roll. It's gonna rock. Bando needs more rocks, but this bad one telling him let's rock. Done said I got love for the plug, AS still says no love for the fuck. They hate can't rate it a lot, them man